This is part 2 of my interview with Kelle and Kathy Rhoads. If you'd like to listen to part 1, a link to the interview can be found in the description. When Quiet Riot exploded, would they sell like 7 million records of that first one?
Out of that.
Incredible. They really came from not being very successful to being very successful.
Yeah.
It was impressive. I give most of the credit to Kevin.
Yeah. Maybe part of it was riding off the coattails of Randy Rhoads. I don't know. I always thought that kind of, but good for them. Kudos to them. Rudy's back in the Quiet Riot band now.
Yeah, Rudy joined that band again.
I know, yeah. He's kind of heading that version of the band.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
If it makes him happy.
I guess it's good if he wants to do that again.
That's what he wants to do. Go for it.
Were there any riffs that you guys recognize from, say, the Quiet Riot, that early era, Randy era, that made it onto the Ozzy albums?
The riff with Kelly Garney, when he got kicked out, that was a pretty big riff. So
he's talking about playing like things.
A guitar riff. Sorry.
D came from...
thought you meant riff like fight. Yeah,
D
I get it.
Came from Laughing Gas. That was the solo in Laughing Gas. And the song for, what's that one that all the Japanese people like?
Come on, Feel the Noise?
No. There's a song that he played in Quiet Riot. I don't think it was on a record. Something like Untie My Shoes or something like that. That became Romance.
Oh, Goodbye to Romance?
Goodbye to Romance. That was a song that was called something to do with Tie My Shoes or something like that. But there was songs, like if you listen to You Looking at Me, Looking at You, that was clearly a Quiet Riot riff.
I think I had seen something where you were talking about it, Kelle, as far as not recognizing his legendary status while he was in Quiet Riot.
He had a lot of fans. I remember the shows, like, let's see, 100 people or so would line up to be in front of Kelle, maybe 40 in front of Kevin, and then Randy, like 500 people. So some people did recognize him then, but not to the point where...
We would get fan mail from people in Japan.
Not to the point where he eventually became with Ozzy.
Right, which those records, that's where their deal was from, right? Sony in Japan for the first two? Yeah. Did they tour over there?
They were considered imports here. They were very hard to get.
Of course, yeah. But did they go over there and tour?
No.
No, they never did. They were going to. They were supposed to.
Actually, the Quiet Riot that Randy was in never left the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
Wow.
They would play at the local nightclubs, which a lot of them aren't there anymore. Mm-hmm. Actually, Starwood is gone. Troubadour.
No, Troubadour's there.
No, but I mean, where you play too. Mm-hmm. Whiskey, Roxy, right? He played, where else? Some of the other nightclubs he played at.
They played Club 88. They played outside of LA a little bit, but they never toured.
And do you guys recall kind of that audition period? Was Randy friends with Dana Strum, or was Dana just kind of hip on the scene and knew?
He was just really trying to help Ozzy out. So he said, "You've heard of Randy Rhoads, of course?" And he goes, "No, I don't know anything about him." And he set up the
interview. Randy didn't want to go.
Yeah, Randy didn't want to go. Randy didn't want to go, and he didn't want to join Ozzy either.
Yeah.
My mom made him.
My mom made him.
Yeah.
My mom, he listened to my mom. My mom was like his mentor. And he didn't want to go for the interview. My mom said, Randy, you should go because sometimes you just need the right connections.
Right.
And it might lead to something else. Like, go. He told Dana, I think the first time, like, no, I'm teaching my students. I've got my plate full. And he said, anytime you want to come, we'll work around your schedule. I don't think he went till quite late at night.
He taught till quite late, and then he went down and he told Dana he didn't have any gas money. So Dana paid for his gas. He wasn't really good friends with him. He wasn't, enemies, but he was just promoting Randy. Wanted Ozzy just to see Randy.
How was your relationship with him at that time, Kelle, when he's auditioning?
With Randy?
Yeah.
My relationship with Randy got way better about 2 months before he died. Then when you go back in time, it wasn't great. To be honest with you, he thought I was from outer space. He didn't like me.
I don't know. I think he's wrong. I think we just went through this period where Randy was cocky with his friends, and there was a short period of time, a few years, when he was with this group of friends who, I'm not going to say. Anyway, they just became his world at that time. But once he went with Ozzy and he was away from home, he matured, he grew. He even came home with a freaking accent, like an English accent, which wasn't fake. He just did. And he was a completely changed person. He grew up, he matured, he was grounded, and it was completely different.
And then what about you, Kathy? Are you talking to him around that time of the audition?
I was always
close with them.
They're close in age.
We were only a year apart. So
right.
Kelle was 4 years older than us, so it seemed like worlds apart at that time. So it was always him and me as kids. And I didn't have a period where I didn't get along, but when he was in that Quiet Riot stage in the beginning, I was getting married to my now husband, starting a family. So I was in a different realm of rock and roll at that time. When he went to England, he was at the house. I remember when he told us, it was Lisa was her baptismal, and he was at the house telling us that he was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
My husband's in my house telling us that he was going to go on the road. And we were like, whoa. Mm-hmm. So he finally got a break, of finally being recognized. He kind of was like a puppy dog chasing his tail with Quiet Riot. It just wasn't going where he wanted.
That version of Quiet Riot wasn't going to work.
Yeah, just wasn't. He looked back and he wasn't proud of that music, really.
No, he asked my mom to make sure that none of that music is ever released. Of course, she couldn't do anything about it.
Other than the one that Kevin kind of headed back then, right?
No, it was considered import here.
Yeah. But then he did kind of a compilation, right? Was that him that released that, where it was like a compilation of the two albums and he redid the vocals?
Kevin.
Correct.
Yeah. With Park Records in Florida. That record actually didn't sell very well. Kevin came to my mom again and wanted to do another one, and she said, absolutely not.
Yeah, she would defend what Randy wanted.
But she signed off on that first one?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember him being kind of upset. He sounded upset during our interview of that
my mom would,
yeah, he was like, the Rhoads estate doesn't do enough, like the Hendrix estate, I think is the comparison he made.
My mom was very particular when it came to representing Randy.
Mm-hmm.
She was very particular. And she knew Randy didn't want it released. That's the main reason. Mm-hmm. Not because she was, trying to be mean to Kevin.
What about a first reaction to hearing Blizzard of Ozz? Either of you recall that moment?
I do. It was really a revelation. Everybody was shocked. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When we all heard it, we were like, whoa.
Yeah. He'd come home. When he'd be on tour, we'd go in his car, which I'm restoring, by the way, right now, and his Scirocco. And he'd play the cassettes in the car for us. And we were like, whoa. Like it was a total
what a difference.
Different level. Ozzy gave Randy the platform Randy needed. That's what Ozzy did for Randy. Randy just soared. Randy was good for Ozzy. Ozzy was good for Randy, too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Really a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Ozzy, at the time he met Randy, pretty much a lot of people had given up on him. And Randy was in a band that played all the time, but never, went further. So their union was really symbiotic for both of them. They both had what each other needed.
And Black Sabbath had been kind of trending down for the last few years prior to Ozzy being kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy was kind of even in sort of a humbled position, I would say, at first. And they were even going to name the band Blizzard of Ozz, right?
Yep.
Well, they did at first.
They did.
Then pretty soon after that, it was just Ozzy Osbourne.
Which was sad to Randy.
That kind of thing happens in show business all the time.
Yeah. Randy wasn't happy about that, I remember. But anyway, it is what it is. I'd say between Sharon and Randy, they resurrected Ozzy, and Ozzy will be the first one to tell you that to this day.
Yeah.
We still stay in touch with him. He really thinks highly of Randy. I know that. On your Instagram, I thought it was really sweet. You kind of wished Sharon happy birthday, but had a lot of really nice things to say about her. They really treated my mom well. I have to say, they were really good to her.
And I always appreciated that. I will say it's very sincere.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys ever meet Don Arden?
Yeah, of course. We've been to his house.
Sure. I haven't.
Weren't you at that concert after the one which?
Oh, wait, that was the house they were renting.
No, even Rudy Sarzo was there.
They rented it.
Yeah, it was a former Howard Hughes house, if I remember.
Actually, it belonged to Howard Hughes, and he never lived there. He let Cary Grant.
Yeah, he was a hard.
Use it.
Yeah, Don Arden was somebody you didn't want to mess with.
No.
He was a strict, businessman.
Great stories about him out there that resembled a mobster is what some of the stories kind of out there on him are.
Yeah, I can't answer to that. I don't know. But he was a very good businessman, let's put it that way.
Are there any favorite memories of Ozzy or Sharon or Don Arden or?
Well, the parties at that house. I mean, after they played live, there was a party at that house, and I remember something about the pool.
Yeah, Richard went swimming.
Oh yeah, Richard went swimming
in the pool with Ozzy after the party. Alone in the pool. Ozzy's really.
Oh, and I remember Randy was laughing, and he goes, "I want to show you something," and he goes, "Come on with me." And he showed me where in Sharon's room all the shoes that she had.
Did you read that, Adam, in my story?
I did, yeah. He loved shoes, right?
He loved shoes. So he took us in the bedroom and said, look at her closet. Look at her closet. He was impressed by that.
Beautiful house.
Yeah, that was fun. Fun times. Going to the concerts with him in the limo. I remember one time he was freaked out because his pedalboard was constantly going in and out. We were on our way to a concert with him in the limo with my mom, and he was freaked out because his pedal board, which is the one that we sent to the Rock and Roll Museum Hall of Fame, it was out. It was always going out, and he was really upset about that. I don't.
Wow, that was that just triggered a memory when I had interviewed Kevin, where he said I was at a party, and out of the blue I got a call. They said Randy's on the phone. He's on break from Ozzy. And he gets on the phone and he's like, and Randy was like, "Hey, I need you to fix my pedal board."
It's always was going out. Like, what did they call it?
Ozzy called it the chip pan.
Yeah, the chip pan. That's what he called it. They said it was haunted.
Yeah, it got like a lot of weird stations and it malfunctioned. That was the kind of a thing that Randy was concerned about.
Is it okay to ask about the plane crash?
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, so we'll leave that off. Is there anything else that you want to add to the interview or talk about, or anything I left out?
I just want to make sure that people know what an exceptional person he was. Not only was he a great musician, but he was an exceptional human being.
He was a very humble, kind person.
Really.
Once he matured and got out of that cocky stage, he was still a good person, but he was just really an extraordinary person. Yeah. And I want people to know that. Yeah, I'd say that's very true.
I saw a clip of your mom talking where she said that when he was kind of learning that he just played all the time, and when he didn't have a guitar, he wasn't happy.
He always had a guitar. You know, even when he was a young kid and just starting, because Randy and I started lessons together at the music school. And I was, I think, barely 9, and he was about 6.5, 7. And he used to go stand in the shower with his guitar without the water on, of course. So he would get acoustics. That's even before he owned an amp. Stupid, crazy memories. That was like, as a kid, he always had a freaking guitar in his hand. Even if you go on a trip, we took a lot of train trips as kids, and he always had to have that guitar with him.
You play too, Kelly, right?
Not guitar.
You don't play ever. I know you do, Kathy, right? You play kind of finger picking, or you stopped after his death, right?
Yes. I know he'd be really pissed at me for that. Finger picking, and we'd play together. We would, and we've all played together.
I played drums for a long time, then I switched to singing.
I remember your records coming out when I was a kid in the 80s and thinking like you played guitar too, but
No, I never did.
That would be another cool one, is to get those old school releases out, because I'm sure those are long out of print, right? Your 80s releases?
I have no idea who owns them, or I just know that I don't make any money off them.
You know, one interesting thing about Randy, I think that might be worth mentioning that was interesting about him. When he was on the road touring with Ozzy, besides taking the lessons to keep himself busy, he started collecting these little miniature trains and sets. And so when he'd come home to unwind, he'd listen to his classical music and build these train sets, like models that would go with the trains. And he was really into that. He would, when he was touring in Europe, he'd collect them. And they were the size of a walnut, actually. They were really tiny. And at the end of his life, my husband finally was building a board for him the last Christmas before he passed, which is only a couple of months before, finally building him a big board to put the whole thing together. So we still have all those things that he made. But that was really passionate, something he loved doing, those trains. Trains were a big deal to our family.
We both like trains.
Yeah, so we used to travel by train. We never went on the plane. First time my mom ever went in a plane was when she flew to visit Randy in England.
I saw that. Yeah, that's incredible.
And needed a lot of brandy to get on that plane.
And then she took a plane to visit me in Brazil, too.
What were you doing in Brazil?
I was in a band called Eternity, and I got chosen to be in that band. And our idea was to go down there, and the thing that was unique about that band is a singer came from Hollywood to be in a Brazilian band. But nothing happened with it.
And never released anything?
No.
How long were you there?
Yeah, that's my question.
About 2 years.
Yeah, you were there a while.
Got a lot of great experiences, but none of them had to do with music.
What time period? What years were those?
I went over in August of 90, and by 92, I came back here for good.
And you guys were playing gigs there?
Some. We both basically just rehearsed.
And they just kind of put you up there?
They took care of me. They really took care of me. They gave me a house, a driver. I mean, I was taken really good care of. But the problem was the guy that was the head of the band, he just didn't have a clue. He didn't know what was going on. We should have done like a lot of the shows that we were offered, but he just wanted to go to TV.
But you guys were writing originals?
All originals.
Okay. Out of all your rock records, do you have a favorite?
No.
You don't?
I don't like any.
You're catching him in on a bad day. Come on.
All my days are bad days.
No, that can't be true.
It is true.
Why?
I don't know. There's some people that like Randy was born to be successful and stuff like that. And
not easy to follow in his little brothers.
My situation was, it just deteriorated over the years.
Did you ever feel like you were just living in his shadow? Was that like a point of contention for you? Or?
No, I never felt that way because I didn't think it was bad. I was real happy for Randy. It was never that way. I was very, very happy for him. And I think that he totally deserved his success. But other people, they just, they fail and then they die.
I've always thought, even in my own personal life, there's almost a romance to it of even if you don't make it, just keep busting ass and trying. And
I still take piano lessons. I still have a band. We rehearse on Fridays and stuff like that.
Music's still in your life, then that's what.
Yeah, music's still in my life.
All right. So I think that's cool. To me, there's always something kind of admirable about it. I just wonder, with the 80s, though, were you feeling like after his passing, was that like a moment where you felt like you were kind of, okay, I'm releasing it, but everybody's always saying I'm Randy's brother? Is that
kind of happened a lot, but remember, I didn't play guitar. I kind of was in a different situation because I wasn't playing guitar, so I wasn't, in competition with him in that way.
And Kathy, did you ever record anything?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Basically, I'm a footnote. That's all I'm going to be remembered as. Somebody that just gave Randy stories. That's about the end of it.
We're not done carrying his legacy on. Don't worry. We're not done.
Things can always change. Yeah. Something could really happen.
There's things going on.
And I would be amazed and like that situation to happen. But I'm 70 years old. My next step is Forest Lawn. Cemetery down here.